The Senate spokesman Sabi Abdullahi has confirmed that the Senate has received a letter from President Buhari extending his vacation. Briefing journalists in Abuja, Senator Abdullahi explained that the Senate has no plans to reconvene plenary to allow the Senate President read the letter on the floor of the Senate because it is not an emergency. Communications to the National Assembly from the President are usually read by the Senate President or the Speaker at plenary.
In this second letter, he is informing the Senate that he is extending his vacation because in the course of that routine medical checkup, there were still some tests that his doctors will still want to run further. And so because of that, he's extending his vacation. So this is a constitutional provision. And let me say that it's within his prerogative to do so, and we are receipt of that letter accordingly. So this is why we had to brief you, so that we are now confirming that we are receipt of that letter formally. We've known that yes, many things have been going on, but this is our formal and official, pronouncements to Nigerians on this particular subject matter.
Against the backdrop of the growing apprehension over the President's health, his special advisor on media, Mr. Femi Adesina, says there's no need to worry as he will not only get well, but will be back sooner than expected. He was speaking today on our breakfast program, much earlier in the day, and on the national protest held across major cities yesterday, Mr. Adesina appealed for calm, saying that all has been heard.
You can't compare the Yaradua scenario or the Yaradua saga with what is happening now. Then you could ask for daily updates because the president left the country without anybody being told where he was headed and why he was going there. 2, he did not transfer power to his then deputy, the vice president. That is not the situation now. When the president was leaving on January 19, we issued a statement. He was going on vacation and he would do routine medical checkups. Now, when those medical checkups need to be extended, we also announced it that because he needed to still do more and get the results, he has asked for an extension. And then 3, power has been transferred to the vice president, who is the acting president. So you don't need exactly what the then AC asked for in 2009. The president may be coming back sooner than people think, because we hear all the rumors, we see all the malice, all the mischief, all the malevolence against the president. All those people will be surprised. I heard the acting president say it yesterday, and you have reviewed it in the press this morning, saying, we hear you loud and clear. What else would somebody from government say? You have protested, you have raised your angst, and government says, we hear you loud and clear. That's on record. And that means we are doing something about it.
Let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Markbe. Markbe.
Hello, Ijoma. The Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, has identified shoddy licensing of contracts to incompetent hands as one of the major setbacks in the privatization of the power sector. Senator Saraki, who also observed that there's no roadmap for the nation's gas infrastructure, said government must now make sacrifices to transparently fulfill its part of the deal to boost the power sector. He was speaking at a stakeholders' interactive dialogue in Abuja. Our correspondent, Gloria Umezuki, reports.
Nigeria has suffered from disruptions to its electricity supply for decades, and successive governments have struggled to improve the situation. This dialogue, at the instance of the National Assembly, once again opened up the embedded issues. The Senate's president very clearly criticized how the power sector was privatized.
We sold the discos, some cases to individuals and parties who had no idea or any business in being in the power distribution business. Licenses were issued based on chronism rather than capital adequacy, market express, and capacity to deliver. On government side, agreements were faulty and transaction integrity had the imperative.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives had more questions begging for answers. He noted that it appeared the more resources committed to the sector, the more darkness.
Perhaps the most important question will be what happened to the 2.74 trillion naira spent on the power sector between 1999 to 2015.
Not oblivious to the challenges, the Minister of Power urged for speedy legislative interventions as generation hovers around 3,000 megawatts.
There's also a process of trying to address some of the liquidity challenges that is currently going on to pay the gencos so that they can also supply and they can also settle their liabilities to the gas suppliers. So these, of course, are issues that will concern appropriation and the exercise of legislative powers that will be coming to Parliament.
We need to have skilled people who understand their sector and not people based on federal character or quota system to run some of the regulatory bodies.
To keep pace with a soaring demand, greater investments in the areas of gas predominantly and a cost-reflective tariff are some of the areas to be tackled to bring solution to the nation's power sector challenge. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
The police command in Borno State say they fought an attack by 2 female suicide bombers in Maiduguri, the state capital. The police public relations officer, DSP Victor Isuku, who confirmed the incident, explained that the suicide bombers were spotted at about 7 a.m. this morning behind the NNPC mega filling station in Molai area, trying to move into Maiduguri town. The suspects, said to be about 18 years old, were intercepted by security personnel on duty. One was arrested and the other shot dead. EOD personnel were drafted to the scene to render the area safe. Maiduguri has been under attack ever since the army declared the fall of Sambisa Forest, the notorious hideout of the outlawed Boko Haram sect. Now, the need to balance manpower requirements to meet current and emerging security challenges and dwindling defense spending has made it important for the Nigerian military to seek other sources of funding. Now, this is the position of the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olanishakin, who explained that this has become even more pressing in view of the complex security threats confronting the nation. The defense chief was speaking at the National Defense College. Our correspondent, Amaka Okafor, reports.
It's been said that improvement in the manpower of the Nigerian military has contributed to the recent success in the war against insurgency and other threats to national security. But like Oliver Twist, the military is asking for more. At the National Defense College lecture series, the Chief of Defense Staff says the emerging threats means more funding needs to be allocated to the military. And in view of other competing budgetary requirements, it is time for the military to look out for other sources of funding to bridge the budget gaps.
This honorable house to look at it, look at other ways in which we can fund the military. But I must be sincere with you, the budget cannot. The budget, you know how we operate the budget, so we will have envelopes. So you must work within that which you are given. So when you do that, you realize that you must face salary. You must maintain some of your facilities. So when you look at the recurrent, it's almost taking all what you have been given. So you have just little for you to run in capital. So that's the problem, and that problem we also have.
The defense chief also called for a cyberspace military command to meet up with current global realities and to combat cyber threats to Nigeria. He, however, says that the establishment of the command will take some time.
I have told them to come up with that kind of arrangement where we'll bring in those guys in the field of hacking and then bring them in, begin to train them and have them as cyber warriors.
The take-home for participants at this gathering is that Nigeria needs to constantly position itself to tackle emerging and current security challenges. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
Staying with security matters, the nation's security institutions say they've had to battle with false news and other technology-based forms of rumor peddling. To this end, the Forum of Spokespersons for Security and Crisis Response Agencies, that's FOSRA, during a meeting in Abuja, have resolved to work together to disseminate accurate information to the public. They also made known their readiness to collaborate with the Nigerian media to ensure that citizens receive timely information. Our correspondent, Ajuri Ngalale, reports.
At a time in national history when multiple threats necessitate a multiplicity of responses, all spokespersons of Nigeria's security and crisis response agencies converge to defeat the menace of fake online news and interagency conflict in pursuit of synergy. Introspectively, communication chiefs of Nigeria's military, paramilitary, and disaster response agencies say the days of institutional rivalry between them and discordant information dissemination are over, asserting that synergy between them will close loopholes used by those profiled as sponsored purveyors of false news in the social media.
And media, reported that military are aiding herdsmen to kill Christians, for instance. Yeah, it was there online. It was there. Then what must you? Why must you report this kind of thing? What do you want to achieve?
While international terrorists use social media propaganda to recruit new members, security officials cite online messaging campaigns often sponsored by Nigeria's political gladiators, which they say place national unity and internal stability under threat.
There is nothing to hide, and nobody is hiding anything from anybody. Our operations is open, all our operational commands, so we are appealing to all stakeholders, including our religious leaders, traditional rulers, and all other stakeholders to know that peace is the answer.
While a fresh offensive against the new age threat of fake news emerges as one new theater of battle, defense officials tasked Nigeria's news media to consider national interests before their commercial interests.
We just went in to type it and prepare a kind of press briefing. While we were doing that, a journalist who wanted to be the first to break the news started giving some outrageous figures.
Defense and crisis response agencies assure that greater synergy between them and enhanced openness with the media and the public will uproot forces militating against national unity and security. Ajuri Ngalale, Channels Television News.
When the news at 10 returns, FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange signs partnership with S&P Dow Jones Indices to promote the development of Nigeria's financial market. That's on Business News. You join us again.